are here today in Seoul protesting against what they describe as a growing anti-feminism movement in South Korea. Women fear that their rights are at stake because men are claiming to be victims of reverse discrimination and state that feminism has gone too far.
여성 성평등 삭제 말고 성평등 정책 추진 체계 강화하라!
In South Korea, a battle between men and women is spilling out onto the streets. Gender equality has always been elusive here, but a younger, louder generation of women is demanding that things change. This focus on women's rights was triggered by the global Me Too movement, which began back in 2017. As women across the world shared their stories, women here also stepped forward.
최근 연예인들의 성폭행 문제가 끊이지 않고 있습니다.
옆자리에 앉아서 허리를 감싸 안고
증거는 될 수 없지만 저한테는 있었던 사실이에요.
The allegations implicated politicians and priests. Actors and artists were named and shamed.
Even though there's no concrete evidence, it did happen. Fuck the evidence. I don't have to show you a single thing. Either you believe me or you're the issue. That's 2023 in a nutshell when it comes to men and women.
정말 부끄럽고 참담합니다.
But as the allegations grew, so did resentment among some men.
이것도 페미니스트 분들이 남성의 성기에 좀 집착을 하는 부분이 있다.
저는 얘네들의 발화 권력이 정말 무서운 부분이라고 봐요.
정말 무소불위의 권력이죠. 그리고 저는 이제 남성성이 거세되면 거세될수록 강간이 많이 일어날 거라 생각해요.
That's true. The more masculinity disappears, the more rape crimes will happen. I 100% agree. Because who keeps women safe are other men, essentially. The government and just society is trying to brainwash both men and women and saying any kind of demonstration of masculinity is toxic. You should be as soft and as docile as possible. The moment that this is like gun reform, right? Like gun laws. I'm from Argentina, essentially. In Argentina, I would say 1% of the population has guns. And the way they sell it, the way that the perspective is, if you're not going to go do any harm, why do you need a gun? That's always a perspective to try to guilt you into not wanting a gun. But the thing is, it's like anything else in life. If you really want to do something, you'll do it regardless of laws, of restrictions, of what society thinks. If anybody, this is human nature, if anybody wants to actually do something, regardless what's going on, how illegal it is, they're going to go ahead and do it. That's why there's rapists. That's why there's murderers. That's why there's thieves. All that is illegal. You could cut it down to such an extent, and the people that actually want to do it will do it. So when they want less masculinity, you know who it's harming? Other women. Because when you need that person to come help you, when someone is raping you, when someone is physically assaulting you that's stronger than you, where in reality most men are stronger than most women's, the only one that's going to be there to help is other men. If you take that away from men, if they're scared to help you or they're scared to even go and confront another man, you're going to end up raped. You're going to end up killed. You're going to end up kidnapped. All those people that actually want to do those crimes, they're not going to stop just because you're going out and protesting for Me Too movement. And another point I want to make is they want to fight for equality. This is the question you always ask, and you always get blank stares or insults or mockery, and they walk away. Which rights do men have that women don't? Which rights in 2023 do men have that women do not? Please, anybody, write it in the comments for me. I want to know.
Lee Hyun-jun is 29 and works as a manager at a pet food company. At the height of the Me Too movement, he joined a group that opposes feminism. They call it gender harmony.
사실 그 당시에는 페미니즘이 근데 그 인기에 힘입어 남성들에 대한 매도, 뭐 조롱, 모욕, 굉장한 많은 일들이 벌어졌습니다. 그래서 남성들이 화가 나서 여성들을 멀리하기 시작했어요. 그 상태를 보고 있자니 가만히 있을 수가 없었습니다.
How are they being humiliated by women?
뭐 고추가 3cm니 뭐니, 거기에다가 남성들은 모두 잠재적 강간 범죄자, 남성들은 하등 쓸모없는 존재.
What do you think the consequences of the Me Too movement were in South Korea?
네, 남성들이 여성을 믿지 않게 됐습니다. 그래서 미투를 당할 수 있으니까 하이힐을 신은 여자가 계단 아래로 떨어지고 있는데 거기에서 닿으면 미투 운동을 당할 수 있으니까 자리를 피해버리고.
And you mentioned false rape accusations. I mean, do you think that's a significant amount?
지금 많다고 생각합니다. 다른 나라에 비해서 좀 많을 수도 있다고 생각해요.
Okay, we've seen data though from the Supreme Prosecutor's Office that less than 1% of rape cases in South Korea are false.
그러니까 강간 무고가 1%가 안 된다는 말씀이시죠. 실제로 네, 피해자의 증언만이 오직 유일한 증거가 되는 경우가 굉장히 많거든요. 사람이 있을 수도 있겠구나라는 생각이 들고 있긴 합니다.
I agree. We're in a culture where you have to believe all women. If you don't believe it, you're the problem. If in life, if you want to prove a point, if you want to prove that something happened, you need evidence. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you just get accepted. You just get believed no matter what. That is the issue. The issue is not, let me see evidence. The issue is someone, anybody, and it doesn't even have to be a woman, anybody coming forward and saying, no, this happened to me. And they say, okay, prove it. No. I don't need to prove it. You just got to believe me. What do you mean? Yeah, you got to believe me. And if you don't believe me, you're the issue. That is the most brainwashed way of thinking. It's like when you're with your significant other as a partner, and there's things you don't like them doing. And instead of you voicing that concern, you keep it to yourself, right? In 2023 or in the past 5 or 10 years, we've been sold this idea, especially to men, that you're insecure or you have small dick energy or you're controlling if you express what you really want to say, right? You're a bitch, essentially. If you say something, you're a bitch. And what you guys have to understand, whoever is watching this video, you're not a bitch for saying something. You're a bitch if you don't say anything. If you feel a certain way and instead of voicing it, you keep it to yourself because you're scared of losing the other person. It's not fair to you because if you don't like something, who's the other person to tell you if it's right or wrong? It might be wrong, it might be right, but if the other person doesn't agree, they can leave. They have the right to leave. Like you also have the right to leave as well. So understand and put this in your mind. You're not insecure for expressing what you feel. You are insecure in yourself in a relationship and you're scared of losing the other person, and if instead of expressing how you really feel, you just keep it to yourself. Don't ever get sold on the idea that you have to just go along with whatever it is because if not, you're a misogynist. No. Second point, he's a manager. I used to manage for a few years in different dealerships. I worked for dealerships, car dealerships, right? And I was the BDC manager, which is the business development manager, which is the department where when you inquire about a vehicle online, or if you're looking through websites, you click on give me more information, it generates a lead. The lead goes to that department. They pay money for each lead. And then that department gives you a call, sets an appointment, and either they sell the vehicle or they pass it on to a salesman, depending on how the dealership worked. I had to get out of managing business, or in a sense, the dealership world, or anywhere that I've been as a manager, as a early 20s, mid 20s kind of guy. Because what I realized is in the past 5 or 10 years, it is impossible to manage women at a job. Being a male manager, it is impossible. It is impossible to do your job correctly. Every day you walk into that building, it's a liability. And the story, right? The stories that everybody paints in those scenarios is, oh no, but you're the manager. You have control. You fedoodle them. You encourage and you pressure them to do things for you, and then go to the back of the room in your car and get fucked in the car, because if not, you're gonna fire them. Or, oh, I'll go up to them and say, hey, if you want a promotion, you have to suck my dick every Wednesday. That is the most inaccurate statement, and I've worked. This is personal experience. If you go and you try to be firm at work, you say, no, this is like this is how we do things. If you're firm to a woman, especially women your age, all of a sudden you don't know how to speak to people. If you're firm to a woman and say, no, this is how you do it, in a respectful way, you can't. They'll go to HR and say, hey, he's not talking to me correctly. He doesn't know how to speak to people. You become inadequate for that position, right? So if you go that right of trying to be firm, you looked at like you don't know how to speak to people. If you're nice, if you try to approach a woman and say you approach her in a nice way, you're too flirtatious. If you speak to one very nice, you're flirtatious. You're trying to get in her pants. You're trying to do something that's unethical at work, right? And if you take the approach of, you know what, I'm going to be the same with everybody, just be very monotone with everybody in the department. You know what women do? Women get insulted. Women get frustrated at you at the fact that you don't give them special privilege. They get mad if they come up to you and they try to be flirtatious with you and you don't reciprocate the idea. They get annoyed. They get insulted. They look at you like, how dare you not follow along with what I'm trying to put on the table. If you cut it off, if you're 50, 60-year-old man, it's different, because it's a different dynamic. But me, as a young man in my early 20s, mid 20s, if a girl my age came on to me and she tried to be nice and flirtatious at work and I cut it off, she would get mad. She would take it as like, who the fuck are you? What, you think because you're a manager you can go ahead and not go along with what I'm doing? They get resentful, and eventually they go to HR. HR is a woman's department. You'll never, the perspective in the HR department is defend all women. There's never men working in HR. I don't know if you noticed. Go to any HR office, 95% of HR workers are women. You go in there as a male and you express a concern, they're not going to get the other person fired. You're just going to create an atmosphere where you can't work, because now everybody knows that you this and this. If anything does happen, if she does get fired, you'll get fired as well. They'll never just fire the woman. If there's anything going on, the woman was going to be called into the office. She's going to express her story, which is bullshit. She's going to make it up to make it seem like it's not her fault. Then the HR department is in a situation where is it the manager or is it the person? You know what? To make things easy, we'll get rid of both of them. Never will you get a man going into HR office and being defended by HR. So the corporate world, women have a lot of power. As much as you want to say they don't, I worked in corporate for 10 years. It is impossible to work with women. I would argue that men and women should work separately. They should work the same job, making the same amount of money, having the same benefits, having the same structural building, everything the same. They just work in different places. You do the same job, but women work here and men work here. Same with, for example, gyms. The gyms is an issue. Women gym here, men gym here, same benefits, same pricing, same things to work, same weights, same everything. You just go at it separately. I want to see how many women still go to work, and I want to see how many women still go to the gym. I would argue that it would drop significantly. That is my opinion.
And his group have plenty of supporters. His YouTube channel has more than 61,000 followers. Today, they showed up to live stream the International Women's Day rally.
여성주의 평화 안보 구축하라!
저는 개인적으로 되게 뭐랄까 이런 감정들만 있는 내용들이라고 할까요?
그 예시로 차별금지법을 강력하게 통과를 시켜야 된다라고 얘기를 했었는데 이게 사실은 표현 독재법이죠.
So Hyunjin is trying to find someone to speak to right
I'm not
now.
going to stop it because I just stopped. Well, I just did stop it, but I'm going to say something a little bit.
남자들한테 하실 말씀 많으실 것 같은데 좀 듣고 싶어요. 안 들어주실 거예요? 너무하시네. 젠장. 자, 그러면 부스를 돌아보겠습니다. 한국 남자들한테 하고 싶은 말이요.
진짜요? 저 진짜 해도 돼요?
진짜? 진짜 하세요. 진짜 하세요.
씻고 다니셨으면 좋겠어요.
좀 씻고 다녀라. 씻고 다녀라.
그게 이제 성평등을 위해서 남자들은 씻고 다녀야 된다.
네, 씻고 다녀라. 오줌 싸지 문 닫아라. 시민의식을 높이자는 얘기예요. 화장실, 예를 들어 화장실 갔는데 남녀 공용이야.
네네.
갔는데 문 열어놓고 안전했으면 좋겠어요.
안전해야 되고.
여자들이 어떤 고통을 겪는 줄 알아요.
공감해줘야 되고, 그죠?
성통제주의가 좀 많이
해야
그쪽에서 누르신 것 같은데 저한테 막 화내시고 저는 여기 가만히 있는데 얼굴이 여기까지만 나오시잖아요.
아니 약간
안전을 원하시죠?
아니 프레임이 약간 쉬워졌어. 성통제주의라는 얘기를 난 처음 들어봤어.
So Hyunjin is speaking to
Gender
some
control
feminist.
freak. I agree. So this is my opinion. No one is saying this. This is me. The feminist movement is not about equality. The feminist movement is about control of the masculine frame. Feminism, what they want to do, what they want to have women do is control men. They want to tell you how much of a man you can be, where you can be that much of a man, why you can be that much of a man, where and how you should tone it up or tone it down in a sense of how masculine you are here compared to here, and when you can have the door open when you pee to when you should have it closed, and when you should be able to scream and when not to not. The feminist movement is not about equality. It's about pushing the idea that women know more than men, that women are more civil than men, and that women should dictate how men should act, how men should feel, how men should think, and anything that goes against what the women think a man should do is misogyny. Crazy.
Right now, and it's getting a little bit heated. They're having a disagreement.
Gender control freak indeed.
카메라 고압적으로 하지 마시고요. 위협적으로 하지 마세요. 위협적으로 하지 마세요. 위협적으로 하지 마세요. 폭력적으로 하지 마시고요. 쳐다보시고 와서 대화하세요. 대화를 못 하시는 남성과 여성의 자유를 파괴하고 남성과 여성의 하모니를 원천 차단시키는 그런 모습을 잘 볼 수 있었던 것 같습니다.
Was that successful?
네, 맞습니다. 그렇게 뭔가 만족스럽지 못하네요. 성평등에 대해서 정말 생각한 사람이라면 오줌 싸는 거, 샤워하는 거 이런 이야기를 할 수 있을까라는 생각이 듭니다.
But hygiene
Shame.
isn't what women are
Shaming,
talking
shaming,
about
shaming.
here.
So can you tell me why you're here today? What are women facing in South Korea?
실제로는 많은 기업에서 성별임금 격차를 이유 없이 지불하고 있고 혹은 노동시장에서 성불평등도 이유 없이 고용차별이 진행되고 있어요.
What do you think is at stake for women in South Korea?
자기 존엄을 보장할 수 없다. 자기 권리를 보장할 수 없다. 계속 여성들은 끊임없이 죽어나가고 강간을 당하고 폭행을 당하고 그래서 자기의 오롯한 생존을 보장받을 수 없는 상태로 지금 서게 되겠죠.
The facts support these concerns. South Korea has the worst gender pay gap among developed democracies. On average, women earn a third less than men. And when it comes to violent crime here, almost 90% of victims are women, compared.
It's a Vice documentary. Supposedly it should be. There shouldn't be any Vice opinion, right? There shouldn't be any. It should be just very like, I'm gonna let them speak. And if you do bring up facts, bring facts from both sides, right? And these are not facts; these are government-based. Going with no evidence, like the guy just said. You can go to the government and say, "Yo, my husband hit me," and they'll include it in that 89% with no evidence. The raping, no evidence. Same thing. It's very clear what Vice is trying to push. They don't want you to come up with your own opinion on the matter. They don't want you to look at the video and say, okay, let me make my own opinion. What they want to do is they want to give you facts on one side of the argument, which is the feminism argument. They're giving facts about feminism, that are false, that are not proven. 89% from Korean Statistical Information Service, right? Like I just said, a woman can go, she got into an argument with her husband doesn't want to provide for her husband doesn't want to take her out. She got fed up that day, goes to the bathroom, slaps her face 3 times, comes out, goes to the police, says, my husband hits me. Don't get me wrong, some are real. It's a fact. You know, that does happen. But for the most part, we all know that a lot of them are faked. So I wish that Vice, instead of giving these facts, one-sided facts, they either gave facts on both sides or just gave no facts at all and let people make their own opinions on what this really is.
To around 50% in the US. But despite this, the country's new leader, Yoon Suk-yeol, is planning to get rid of the ministry responsible for promoting gender equality. In fact, he campaigned on it and won the presidency.
I wonder why.
뭐 공약인데 그러면 뭐 내가 선거 때 국민들한테 거짓말하라는 얘기입니까?
이제 남자가 악이다. 남자는 사라져야 된다. 이런 militant feminist 이런 사람들이 한국 사회에 많아서.
Ha Taek-young is a lawmaker from the ruling People Power Party and supports President Yoon's views on feminism. Do you want to get rid of the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family in South Korea?
그렇습니다. 저는 여성가족부의 폐지, 대표적인 폐지론자인데, 그리고 이제 성 갈등이 심화되면서 대한민국이 세계 최악의 이제 저출산 국가가 된 것도 여성가족부 영향이 좀 크다고 생각을 합니다.
Do you agree that some of the policies your party has put forth aligns with what anti-feminists want in South Korea?
한국에서 페미니즘 반대한다고 할 때 그게 성차별을 옹호하는 게 아니라
Exactly.
한 젠더에게 특권을 주는 것을 반대한다는 그런 뜻입니다.
Exactly.
한국의 페미니스트들은 이제 남성 역차별론자로 이해되고 있습니다. 그래서 당연히 그런 신종 역차별.
How do you think South Korea fits into the global discussion about gender equality?
그러니까 예를 들어 이란이나 최근에 아프가니스탄 같은 사회를 보면 여성을 학대를 하고 있고 이제 그런 사회 심각한 여성 차별 사회에 대해서 우리가 좀 더 관심을 많이 가져야 된다고 생각을 합니다.
The women orange privilege.
You kind of pass the puck to Iran and Afghanistan and like, yeah, look over there. Which I mean, it is true that it is much worse in those countries, but it doesn't take away from the argument that feminism is getting extremely out of hand. Maybe in those countries it is kind of shifted the other way, where it is a little bit too like we say in Spanish, machista. Men do control a lot more than they should. It should be a little bit more equal. But to say that Korea is a misogynist country, or to not admit that feminism is causing more harm than good, that would be insane.
In South Korea, something that activist Park Ji-hyun is reminded of every day.
최근에 한국의 이제 정치 상황을 봤을 때 이제 후퇴하고 있다고 느끼는 건데, 정부 주요 인사들을 봐도 대부분이 남성이고 한국 사회에서 여성.
Most of the government personnel are men. That's what she looks at. What about the bricklayers? What about the garbage men? What about the people that work in a sewage company? What about the ones that work offshore drilling? What about the carpenters? What about the guys that pave the streets at night at 2 o'clock in the morning? What about the guys that are digging holes out in the field so you can have running water and a good sewage system? Why aren't you looking at those sectors of jobs and saying we should have equal representation of women there as well? Because I would argue that without those, when they say, oh no, but government set rules, they have power. I would say that if those people stopped working, the government would bend to those people. So in reality, government doesn't have power. They make it seem like they do, but the power comes from us, the people. If we stop doing the jobs that we do, the government would be at our feet, begging us to come back, and they would negotiate whatever needs to be negotiated. That's always the feminist argument. It's fucking disgusting.
국회의원이 지금 19%거든요.
As a student journalist in 2019, Park helped uncover one of South Korea's largest online sex crime rings, which launched her career in politics. But once she was in office, Park became the target of relentless digital abuse. Some of these messages are extremely disturbing. They include threats of assault and genital mutilation.
That happens to everybody. Even not even to, you don't even have to be a politician. You could be a streamer on Twitch, and they send you messages saying they're gonna kill you, and they're gonna rape you, and they're gonna rape your family, and they get on TV like they talk about the Xbox chats and the PlayStation. I don't even play video games like that, but when Call of Duty was out, everybody used to talk shit. So man, fuck you and your mom. I'm gonna rape all those things that like, bro, this is normal. This is not just happening to you because you're a woman. It happens to everybody. Everybody has haters, and no one is going to always agree with you. You could be the nicest person in the world, and you're always going to have people that go against the logic. Is it right? No, it's not right, but it happens to everybody. So you can't make it seem like it only happens to women. It happens to everybody. Is it wrong? Yes, it should stop. Is it going to stop? No, it's never going to stop. So come on.
매일같이 뭐 많이 왔을 때는 이런 메시지를 보내는 부분은 왜 나한테 이런 메시지를 보낼까? 내가 살아있는 사람이라고 생각했을 때 내가 나를 사람으로 생각하지 않는 건가?
Do you think mainstream politicians presenting anti-feminist remarks has made anti-feminism go mainstream within South Korea?
이 백래시가 심해지고 있는 것은 부정할 수 없는 사실인 것 같아요. 네. 울분을 풀 대상이 필요한 거예요. 근데 그 대상이 여성으로 향하는 경우가 많이 있는 것 같고.
But Park faces an uphill battle getting men in South Korea to agree with her. A 2021 poll found that nearly 80% of men in their 20s believe they face serious discrimination. 70% of men in their 30s agreed. Do you think groups
How can you have 80% of the population, that's 8 out of 10 people, saying, yeah, we see this as an issue, and you totally overlook that? How is it that you deal with men, right? Like the whole point of living is to find a partner, make a good family, give offsprings, and have the human race continue, and also enjoy your life. But how can you have the other side, the other 50% of the population come at you and say, yeah, 8 out of 10 of those feel like there is an issue? That should spark some kind of like thought in your head. It's like, that's more than half. That's almost everybody, almost all men. So how is that possible? Let me hear you out. Let me open my mind to the idea that maybe I'm wrong. And if you are wrong, accept, and if you're not, hold your point. But there has to be some kind of debate with facts, not with emotion, not with, oh, but I had a friend, and oh no, but it doesn't happen in my personal life, so it's not happening. All those things. No, factual things, facts, numbers, statistics, facts that, for example, you would say, okay, well, when there's an 89%, when it says that 89% of women are being abused, why aren't you saying those are facts? No. Like I wanna look at that 89% and say, okay, 89%. Let's look at these cases. How many of them have proof and how many don't? And work it like that to the end point of saying, okay, in reality, out of those 89%, X amount of percentage had evidence and proof behind it. If it's out of those 89%, 100% of that 89% had proof, then I would shut the fuck up and say, damn, my bad. I was wrong. But I'm not, but let's have a debate with facts. Facts, not feelings. Logic.
like yours that are against feminism have the potential to be spaces where women get harassed unfairly?
충분히 있다 생각합니다. 하지만 저는 개인적으로 이 그룹을 이끌면서 가져가는 어떤 좌우명 같은 게 있다면 페미니스트가 페미니즘을 선택하지 않아도 되는 세상을 만들어보자. 제 지금 좌우명입니다. 여성들이 전체적으로 피해를 보고 있구나라고 생각해서 페미니즘을 선택합니다. 하지만 저는 그러지 않아도 된다라는 걸 좀 얘기를 해주고 싶어요.
Everything you've said to me in this conversation sounds like you are an anti-feminist.
안티페미니즘과는 거리가 다릅니다.
Exactly, not anti-feminist.
안티페미니즘은 여성을 모욕하는 것도 서슴지 않습니다. 하지만 저희는 여성을 지켜야 된다고 이야기합니다. 저는 남자로서 제가 사랑하는 여성을 지키기 위해 살아요.
Do you consider yourself a hero?
내가 영웅이라고 생각하는구나. 저는 영웅을 만들어내는 감독 정도가 아닐까 생각합니다.
So one day in the future you might be a hero.
언젠가는요.
그저께 저희가 모욕적인 일을 당했습니다. 성평등을 위해서 남자들에게 하고 싶은 말이라고 했는데 소변 관리를 잘못하게 하셔가지고 그게 성평등 관련해서 자, 여기 안에 굉장히 이 짧은 영상 안에 정말 수많은 메시지들이 담겨 있는 것 같은데, 일단 첫 번째,
충분히 성희롱으로 해석될 만한 여지도 있다고 보고.
I want to talk about what happened at the rally. What were you trying to achieve?
하지만 그래서 페미니즘에 대한 이야기를 듣고 거기에 더 나은 어떻게 보면 페미니즘을 발전시켜서 성평화로 이끌려고 하는 시도들을 하기 위해서 정보를 모으기 위해 갔던 거였죠.
Right, but I mean, you showed up with a camera, you were live streaming the whole thing. I mean, and you came at the
Wasn't
end
she
of the
doing the
protest.
same
What were
thing?
you
Didn't
really
she show
trying
up with
to
the
do?
camera?
네,
Tell me.
정말 저는 행사를 방해하고 싶은 생각은 없어요. 저는 페미니즘과는 거리가 있는 사람이니까 그 행사를 방해하고 싶은 생각은 없었어요. 그래서 분과 이렇게 이야기를 나눌 수 있는 기회가 되었는데 아마 그 대화를 듣고 좋은 답변은 드리지 못했을 것 같네요.
Are you surprised by her reaction, the feminists' reaction? I mean, you showed up in their space, right?
굉장히 놀랐습니다. 믿음을 가지고 갔는데
How is it their space?
완전히 배신당한 느낌이었어요.
It's public. She makes it seem like he barged into her house while they're having a meeting, all calmly and nice, drinking tea, and he came in with like a camera crew and just fucking punked them. You know what I'm saying? It's a public space. Anybody's allowed to be there. He had a camera like you had a camera. It was documenting. You know, he went up there, was politely asked them questions about their point of view. How is that infringing on their space or being disrespectful? How else do you have a conversation? It's in public with cameras, respectfully. I don't understand.
You didn't even introduce yourself, though, as gender harmony people.
네, 그랬었네요. 예. 근데 정말
Don't
그건 제
apologize,
실수가
bro.
많은 것 같습니다.
That's not a mistake. You're just, if you go and say, yeah, I'm from the opposite side, no one is going to want to talk to you. That's just a fact. What do you mean? Come on, man. You're gonna tell me that just because he wasn't straight up and said, hey, I'm from the opposition here trying to have a conversation, that somehow, some way it was misogynist or insulting or degrading or offensive? How? In what way? And how? Don't apologize,
and you also
bro.
referred to the feminist in after that protest on Saturday as someone who was sexually harassing you. Do you think that's a fair description of what she said to you?
그냥 기분에 너가 성적으로 수치심을 느꼈으면 그게 성희롱이거든요. 한국에서는 그렇습니다. 그래서 성희롱이 될 수 있다고 충분히 요지가 된다고 생각을 했고.
What are you afraid could happen in South Korea?
가장 두려운 것은 남성과 여성이 스스로의 남성성과 여성성을 모두 잃어버리고 정말 성기만 다른 존재가 되어버리는 게 무섭습니다.
All right, that's the end of the video. Yeah, my final thoughts, honestly, it's same thoughts I had before I started watching the video. It's gotten to a point where feminism, like I said, and this is my strongest point, which I'll hold until it's proven otherwise with facts. The feminist movement is not about equality. The feminist movement is about controlling how much of a man can be. How much of a man he can be, where he can be that much of a man, how he should express that masculinity, for how long he should be able to do it without it being insulting, what he should do, how he should think in the sense of, okay, you can be masculine with me if I'm in this situation, But if I'm not in that situation, you be quiet and you listen to me. So that is the feminist movement in a nutshell. One of the reasons why I made the channel is to kind of show and express the views that I hold, and also show and express the views of feminists. I would love to debate somebody one day on the channel and kind of give my views when there's like a counterpart to kind of contradict what I say. I have zero doubt that I would destroy anybody that comes and debates me. I don't lose debates. I'll die. I'll argue for 16 hours on a point that I hold. If you're right, I shut the fuck up and I say my bad. But if you have no concrete evidence to support what you're saying, I'm going to argue till I die. So yeah, I think that's the end of the video. Like, subscribe, share it with whoever wants to see it. I enjoy making the videos for you. Hopefully you guys continue to watch. But yeah, this is Matt, Palm Beach Podcast, from my mini studio. And I'm out. Peace.